Some leaders inspire with words, some with banners, some with fire. But there are a rare few whose presence alone settles the battlefield. When Canoness Adalya arrives, lines straighten, voices fall silent. Faith hardens into certainty. She does not ask if victory is possible. She asks only where it must be paid for. This is Canoness Adalya, and this is the burden of command.
Welcome back to Brush and Blood, where we paint warhammer miniatures and dive deep into the lore, psychology, and history behind the Imperium's most iconic warriors. Today's episode is different. Today, we're painting Canoness Adalya, a named leader of the Adepta Sororitas. That means heavier lore, harder choices, and a story shaped by command itself.
Let's get the paint flowing.
How Adalya became a canoness. Canoness Adalya did not rise through glory. She rose through survival. As a battle sister, she was known for holding broken lines, often after officers had fallen. As a palatine, she became infamous for one trait: she never withdrew first. During the Purity Wars of Draxos, her canoness was killed by artillery on the opening day. Command fractured. 3 convents were at risk of collapse. Adalya took command without ceremony. She redistributed squads, consolidated armor, and ordered an immediate counteroffensive, not to win, but to stabilize morale. The line held. When the campaign ended, senior clergy noted something rare. Every unit under Adalya's command still functioned as a unit. She was elevated not because she inspired faith, but because she preserved it. That is how a canoness is truly chosen. What a canoness really is. A canoness is not just a battlefield commander. She is strategist, spiritual authority, executor of doctrine, and the living symbol of her order. Every order she gives carries consequence. When Adalya commits sisters to affront, she already knows who will die, how many will not return, and whether the cost is acceptable. A canoness doesn't win battles. She decides which losses are worth victory. Lore story: the hold at Sable Cross. At Sable Cross, Canoness Adalya faced the armies of a chaos-tainted planetary defense force, once loyal, now sworn to dark gods. They sought to seize a refugee corridor used to evacuate shrine worlds. Adalya commanded fewer than 200 sisters. The enemy numbered in the thousands. Retreat was advised. Extraction was possible. Adalya refused. She ordered the sisters to fortify the crossroads, not because it was defensible, but because abandoning it would condemn 3 civilian convoys. For 2 days, the sisters fought cultists, armor, and demonic artillery. Bolters overheated, blades dulled. Hospitallers ran out of pain suppressants. On the 3rd day, reinforcements arrived. Of the original force, fewer than 80 remained. When questioned later, Adalya answered simply,
"They lived because we did not leave."
Adalya does not fight recklessly. She fights deliberately. She advances where resistance is weakest and anchors where morale is failing. She strikes only when it matters. She does not chase enemies. She removes threats. Where a dogmata enforces doctrine and a Ministorum priest ignites zeal, Adalya balances both. She is the hand on the reins and the blade that cuts hesitation away. Lore story: the judgment of Virex. At Virex, a heretic warlord fortified a manufactorum city using civilians as living shields. The assault was brutal. Street by street, room by room. Faith tested with every step. When the enemy line finally collapsed, the warlord attempted surrender. Adalya approached him alone amid the ruins. Smoke filled the air. Bolters still echoed in the distance. She asked one question.
How many died because you hesitated?
The warlord could not answer. Adalya executed him, not for defiance, but for indecision. She later addressed her sisters.
Faith without resolve kills more than heresy ever could.
Faith without resolve kills more than heresy ever could. The city was reclaimed. The civilians survived. The cost was terrible. Adalya carried it alone. Pop culture parallels. Commanders who carry the cost. Canoness Adalya isn't a hot-blooded hero. She's the kind of character pop culture only gives us when the story turns serious, when leadership stops being about victory and starts being about responsibility. In anime, her closest parallel is Olivier Mira Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Armstrong doesn't lead with speeches. She leads with certainty. She holds frozen borders, orders executions when hesitation would cost lives, and accepts the political fallout because someone has to. Like Adalya, she never retreats emotionally. She never asks others to bear a burden she won't carry. And she understands that command means being feared as much as respected. Strength to her is not passion, it's resolve. In video games, Canoness Adalya mirrors Commander Shepard from Mass Effect, specifically a Paragon-leaning Shepard. Not because of power, but because of choice. Shepard doesn't fight every battle personally. She decides who holds the line, who gets reinforced, who doesn't come back, and then she lives with it. Canoness Adalya is the same kind of leader. She doesn't ask if a decision is easy. She asks if it's necessary. And like the best commanders in fiction, she understands the cruel truth. The higher you rise, the fewer people can share the weight with you. Real-world parallels. Commanders who held history remembers leaders like Adalya. Commanders who refused retreat because retreat would doom others. From officers who held bridges under fire to leaders who absorbed losses so civilians could escape. These commanders weren't celebrated in the moment. They were questioned, second-guessed, condemned. Only later did history understand what their refusal truly cost. Canoness Adalya reflects that truth. Command at this level is not heroic. It is isolating. Psychology of named commanders. Named leaders carry memory like armor. Psychologists call this command imprinting, when responsibility becomes identity. Adalya does not forget battles. She catalogs them. Every loss becomes part of her judgment. She does not rest, because rest requires forgiveness, and she has none to spare. The cost of being remembered, Canoness Adalya will never fade into legend. That is not a blessing. Named commanders do not get to forget. Every choice follows them. Every order echoes. Victory keeps her alive. Memory keeps her awake. She carries the weight so others do not have to. And here she stands, Canoness Adalya, painted and ready for the tabletop. She is not the loudest leader. She is not the most inspiring. She is the one who remains when others break. Disclaimer: not all lore and facts may be 100% accurate. This is just fun storytelling as I paint and bring these minis to life. Next time on Brush and Blood, we return to the foundation of every army, the Battle Sister Squad. Viewer question: Do you prefer named commanders like Adalya or building your own legends from the ranks? Tell me in the comments, and keep your brush steady.
Not too bad.
Faith is our shield. Fire, our judgment. I am Seraphine of the Eternal Martyr, and by the Emperor's will, no heretic shall outlive this day. Sisters, advance!
You're still insufferable.
And you're still my sister.
Next time on Brush and Blood, the Sisters of Battle take their breath and paint the ground in more than color.
Bring paint.
And rations.
You'll need both.
See you on the